Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be doing something very different than my normal video. I want to figure out how quickly we can get bolts in every Ratchet & Clank game. As you guys know, bolts are the main currency in Ratchet & Clank. It's how you buy your weapons, it's how you buy your coordinates, it's how you get people to do what you want them to do. Money talks. So I wanted to figure out what game gives you bolts the quickest and which game gives you bolts the slowest. We're going to be going through every single game in the franchise except for Ratchet & Clank Before the Nexus. Without further ado, let's get started with the first game in the series, Ratchet & Clank 2002. We start off by creating a brand new file, skipping all of the cutscenes, walking a bit forward, and immediately looking at this beautiful frog, and killing him, giving us our first bit of delicious bolts. Now onto Going Commando, where unfortunately we have to wait through the 3-ship cycle just to load the planet, and then we have to fly towards the actual ship itself, and then we have an elevator that we also have to go up. But once up the elevator, there are a couple crates greeting us to the left, granting us our first bit of bolts. Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal also unfortunately has an entire loading sequence, but right after we skip the first cutscene, we land on planet Veldin, right in the middle of a war, we jump into the war, and grab some bolts from the enemy corpses. Now it's time for Ratchet Deadlocked, which has a difficulty setting that perfectly matches exactly what I am. Honestly, based Insomniac. Now unfortunately, Ratchet Deadlocked is the first game in the franchise to give us a tutorial, so even though we can skip the cutscenes, unfortunately we have about a minute-long tutorial until we're finally able to kill the first enemy, giving us bolts.
Wow, did you see that? I need a change of underwear! How about you, Juanita?
I'm not wearing any.
Moving on to Going Mobile now, the game that definitely everybody has played and loved. This game starts off with a mandatory tutorial on how to fight enemies. You kill the first chicken robot, but it unfortunately doesn't give you anything. You have to grind down, enter the casino, and then the next chicken robot you kill will give us the bolts. Size matters, it's the same story as Ratchet 1, except again we have a loading screen. As soon as we land on Pokitaru, we turn the corner, see a crab, decide he's ugly, and kill him. Tools of Destruction is the first game on the PS3, and unfortunately the first game in the entire Ratchet & Clank franchise with a completely unskippable cutscene in the beginning of the game. This cutscene is about a minute and a half, and therefore it takes us nearly 2 minutes to get our first taste of bolts. Now moving on to the greatest game in the entire Ratchet & Clank franchise, Secret Agent Clank. This game is very simple. We skip the first cutscene, we sneakily walk through some searchlights, and we locate our first set of crates, giving us bolts. Now in my opinion, I personally could have done this a little bit better, because if you get seen by the searchlights, then it sends attack dogs. So honestly, it would have probably been smarter to not sneakily go through these and just get caught. And I probably could have got bolts faster, but to be honest guys, it's Secret Agent Clank. Do we really care? Moving on to Quest for Booty, this being an extremely short game, it was also a very short run to bolts. This game lets us skip the first cutscene, bringing us right into action and giving us bolts almost immediately. Moving on to Crack in Time, even though the previous game let us skip the first cutscene, this game does not. This game's cutscene is insanely long, and I mean insanely long. I didn't get to play until like 3 minutes in. Once we finally get past it, we actually start with a Clank section, where we have to move across this bridge until we can finally have access to some crates.
Finally!
Ratchet & Clank All for One started with a 20 to 25 second loading screen until we were finally able to pan over to Ratchet as it's showing off one of the bosses. Once we finally gain control of Ratchet, we walk a little bit and slaughter one of these innocent robot guys. I'm sorry, I really need the bolts. Full Frontal Assault. This game might suck, but when it comes to getting bolts, it was very fast. We charge boot forward, and once again, kill these innocent robots. Why do these two games murder these innocent robots?
What have I done?
Into the Nexus is such an underrated game in the franchise. It's short, but it's such a fun adventure, and I'm so excited to get into this playthrough, explore the amazing planets, chill with Kronk and Zephyr, chill with my girlfriend Tal. Oh, that's right. I forgot what challenge we were doing. Ratchet & Clank 2016. A lot of people can't stand this game, but luckily, all we have to do is play for about 20 seconds. As soon as we gain access of Ratchet, we ignore Grim, we ignore the bolt crank, and we go straight for that beautiful stack of crates. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, the most recent release in the franchise. This game starts off with a retirement ceremony for Ratchet & Clank. But you know what you can't retire without? Money. Thank you all so much for watching this video. There's a list on screen going from the slowest time to the fastest time to get bolts in Ratchet & Clank. I really hope you guys enjoyed this interesting take on a video, but it was a really fun idea. Huge shout out to Jorts, who was my inspiration for this video, as he has done the very same thing with Mario games and Zelda games and all sorts of franchises. How long to get a coin, a rupee, touch grass in every Mario game, anything like that. So if you guys want to check him out, please be sure to, and just let me know what you think of this interesting style of video. Would you like to see this again for another game franchise? Let me know in the comments, and thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Thank you to all the members. If you want to become a member, click the join button down below. But Ninja, out.